Welcome, everyone, to China True Story. I'm Leo, and I'll be guiding you through today's story.
And I'm Sophie. Imagine a true story where justice feels like a phantom for decades, only to reappear with a twist so profound it redefines the very meaning of pursuit.
Yeah, really makes you think.
Today we're diving into a case that spans 30 years, two shocking crimes, and a quest for answers that finally reaches its utterly unexpected conclusion.
Quite a journey.
Our mission in this deep dive is to unravel the incredible details of a triple murder case from 1990. This happened in Hanshin County, Anhui, China.
Right.
We're going to trace the police's relentless three-decade pursuit of a fugitive, peeling back layers of deception and, well, a dramatic turn of events that truly no one could have foreseen.
Absolutely nobody.
It's a story we're calling The Long Arm of Justice, a 30-year pursuit. And our insights. They're pulled directly from the meticulous accounts detailed in the case files.
It's a powerful demonstration, isn't it? How persistence, even across generations of law enforcement, can ultimately bring resolution.
Definitely.
And it highlights the incredibly complex ways human lives can intersect, sometimes, with devastating consequences.
So let's go back, way back to the very beginning. The date is June 4th, 1990. We're in Xianzhang Town, Hanshin County, Anhui. And this was the day of a truly grim discovery in Dexia village.
Yeah.
The Shi family, Shi Guangrong, his wife, and their daughter Shi Fanyan, all found brutally murdered in their home.
Horrific scene.
The police arrived, and their initial findings were stark. All three killed by a sharp weapon, the house ransacked.
Right.
And critically, not a single fingerprint left at the scene. What did that lack of fingerprints tell them right away?
Well, that absence was a huge detail. It suggested a premeditated crime, right?
Not just rage.
Exactly, not a spontaneous act. The killer had clearly taken steps to conceal their identity, which indicates planning, maybe even a degree of coldness.
Right.
And what's fascinating is how quickly the police began to piece together a potential motive, even without that immediate forensic link.
And that motive, it turns out, was tied directly to the family's daughter, Shi Fanyan. Can you walk us through her tragic backstory?
Absolutely. The investigation quickly revealed that Shi Fanyan had married a young man from a neighboring village, Lingzukin.
Okay.
This was on Lunar New Year of 1990. But, their union was incredibly short-lived.
How short?
Lasted only about a month. Just deep incompatibility.
Oh.
So Shi Fanyan had decided she couldn't continue and had filed for divorce, moved back in with her parents.
And it was during this period that Lingzukin began making chilling threats. Did the police know about these beforehand? Or was it something that maybe got missed?
It seems it was a very explicit and disturbing threat. He had openly stated he would kill Shi Fanyan's entire family if the court granted the divorce.
That's incredibly direct.
Very. And while such threats certainly occurred, the directness and severity here, especially in a contested divorce context, well, that would have been a massive red flag.
Yeah.
And then on April 8th, 1990, the court did rule. But because they never got a formal marriage certificate, their union was declared illegal cohabitation.
So not even a legal marriage to dissolve.
Right. And Ling Zuqing was not only denied the marriage, but he was also fined 2880 yuan.
Ouch. So that outcome.
Tragically, yeah, it solidified him as the prime suspect.
So with the motive, the threats, and now a clear suspect, what was the most compelling physical evidence tying him to it, despite the lack of fingerprints at the main scene?
Well, the evidence immediately, and I mean overwhelmingly, pointed to him. Villagers reported seeing Ling Zuqing hurriedly leaving the Shi family home just before the bodies were found.
Okay, witness accounts.
Then at Ling Zuqing's own home, police found bloody clothing, a mosquito net, and bedsheets.
And the blood.
Forensics later confirmed it belonged to the victims.
Wow.
And critically, a bloody axe was found in the Shi family's woodshed.
Not their axe, though.
Exactly. Neighbors confirmed this axe didn't belong to the Shi family. It was identified as the murder weapon.
And the handle. Still no prints.
No prints on the axe handle either. Combined with the other evidence, it strongly suggested premeditation, confirmed the killer wore gloves.
All signs just screaming Ling Zuqing. But then, despite all that, he just vanished.
He did.
What were the challenges back then in the 90s trying to track someone like that, besides just, no internet or cell phones?
That's where the constraints of the era really hit hard. Transportation was poor, communication networks were, well, incredibly undeveloped compared to now.
Gave him a huge head start.
A significant head start, yeah. Police experts figured he likely fled to Jiangxi province, but they only had an ID photo.
Which gets outdated fast.
Right. And the investigative techniques back then, Locating him in such a vast, less connected country was incredibly difficult. He effectively disappeared.
So the case went cold.
It did. The Hanshin County Police never closed it, but the file sat cold for 3 long decades. A constant, silent burden, you imagine. Reviewed periodically, just waiting.
Waiting for a break or for technology to catch up.
Exactly.
For 30 years, nothing. The trail cold, the file gathering dust, but never truly forgotten. Then, like reaching across time, a new era in law enforcement. Fast forward to 2020.
Yes, 2020. A new hope emerges. China's Ministry of Public Security launched the Cloud Sword Action. Yunjian Qingdong.
Cloud Sword Action.
Yeah, a nationwide initiative specifically targeting cold cases. It was a concerted effort, leveraging new tech.
Like DNA, better databases.
Exactly. Advanced DNA analysis, nationwide data integration. It gave police unprecedented tools to re-examine dormant cases.
And the Hanshin triple murder.
It was finally reprioritized. Fresh eyes, cutting-edge resources after all that time.
It's incredible that the Hanshin County Public Security Bureau never truly gave up. 30 years is a long time to hold on to a case.
It really is. Shows dedication. And this new initiative must have felt like a powerful, renewed focus for them.
So what was the new strategy?
Well, one key shift was recognizing migration patterns. Lots of Anhui workers had moved to coastal cities over the decades.
Makes sense.
So police decided to focus their renewed search on the Jiangsu and Zhejiang regions, a new geographic approach.
And this is where things start to get really weird.
This is where the first major twist happens.
In October 2020, during an investigation in Yiwu, Zhejiang, police find a temporary resident named Zhang Jiamao from Shangrao, Jiangxi.
Right.
And his face bears a striking resemblance to Ling Ziking's 30-year-old ID photo.
Uncanny resemblance, apparently.
But the temporary residence photo they had for this Zhang Jiamao was from 2011. That's almost a decade old itself. How do they even begin to confirm if this is their guy after so long?
Well, that was the crucial question, wasn't it? Was it him or just someone who looked incredibly similar? So the police, with help from authorities back in Shangrao and in Yiwu, started a secret, very careful investigation into this Zhang Jiamao.
Keeping it quiet.
Very quiet. And what they uncovered just made the case even more complex, more layered.
What did they find?
They found the real Zhang Jiamao's household registration. It confirmed he had always lived in his hometown, never left.
Never left Shangrao.
Never. And
Yeah.
he had tragically passed away in 2015 due to illness.
Wait, so the man in Yiwu?
Was an imposter. Someone who had completely taken over the real Zhang Jiamao's identity, likely just to get work.
Wow. Identity theft on a whole other level.
Yeah, it makes you wonder about the systems back then, how someone could just find an identity and use it to build a whole new life, hide in plain sight.
A complete facade. And if that wasn't strange enough, this imposter, this fake Zhang Jiamao, he wasn't alone.
No, he was living with a wife named Wu Giwa, a son named Shama Fei, and even a daughter-in-law named Long Yanyan.
And they all seemed normal.
Appeared entirely normal from the outside. Just another family unit. Added this layer of bizarre normalcy to the whole deception.
It's like he built this ready-made life around himself using someone else's name.
Exactly. It allowed Ling Zuking, assuming it was him, to blend in completely undetected for decades, hiding this horrific past behind a seemingly ordinary life.
So the police are closing in. They realize this guy in Yiwu is an imposter, likely Ling Zuking, but then he's gone from Yiwu.
Right. By the time they piece this together, he's moved on. And the family had scattered, too.
Where did they go?
Wu Giwa went back to her hometown in Shangrao. Zheng Gefei went to Nanchang for work, and Long Yanyan returned to Guizhou.
They can't just let them disappear now, not after getting so close. What's the next move?
Precisely. Unwilling to lose the trail again after 30 years,
Yeah.
their next move was smart. Interview Wu Giwa and Zhang Gefei directly.
The wife and son?
Yes, but separately. They located Wu Giwa in Shangrao and Zhang Gefei in Nanchang. Separating them was crucial.
To prevent them coordinating stories.
Exactly. Hoping to get independent accounts, maybe some inconsistencies would emerge.
So what did Wu Giwa reveal? Did she know who he really was?
Well, she confirmed her real husband, the actual Zhang Jiamao, had never gone to Yiwu.
Okay. Confirms the identity theft part.
Right. And she said the man she lived with, the imposter, was an Anhui native she only knew as Mr. Li.
Mr. Li, not Ling Zukin.
No, just Mr. Li. And she said he didn't have an ID, so he used her husband's identity for work.
Okay, so she confirms he's from Anhui, Ling Zuking's home province. That's a huge link.
The first concrete piece connecting the imposter back to Anhui, yeah.
But then Zhang Fei, the son, he provided the truly shocking revelation, didn't he?
Yes. Zhang Fei's account. This must have sent chills down the investigators' spines.
What did he say?
He revealed that years ago his ailing father had taken in a beggar, just a guy needing help, called him Zhao Li.
Zhao Li, Little Li, same guy.
Sounds like it. Initially, Zhao Li was quiet, hardworking, helped on the farm, but over time, he changed, transformed.
Oh, so?
He started to bully Zhang Fei's frail father, dominated his soft-spoken mother, Wu Giwa. It got worse.
Oh, man.
Later, he even took the entire family Wu Giwa, Zhang Fei Long Yanyan, to Yiwu for work. But he left Zhang Fei's sick father behind.
Left him to die alone.
Essentially, yes, he died alone back home. You can imagine the hatred Zhang Fei felt.
Absolutely.
So when the police showed Zhang Fei the photo of Ling Zuking,
He recognized him instantly.
immediately identified him as Zhao Li, the man who had tormented his family for years.
Wow. So the puzzle pieces finally click into place. Fake Shang Jiamao is Mr. Li, is Zhao Li, is Ling Zuking.
Exactly. Police confirmed the relationships in this makeshift family, confirmed the identity, Ling Zuking.
But wait, the records showed this group had actually separated back in 2014. That's 6 years before the police tracked them down in 2020.
Right. That became the new immediate mystery. If they separated in 2014, what happened? And where had Ling Zuking gone in those intervening 6 years?
What did Zhang Fei say about that?
Zhang Fei just stated that Ling Zuking had stormed off after a heated argument with his mother, Wu Giwa, back in 2014. Just left.
Seemed too simple.
Maybe. But Wu Giwa, when asked the same thing, she was hesitant, clearly holding back something major. Her distress was palpable.
She knew more. What was it about her demeanor? How did the police know she was hiding something big?
You can often tell, right? The hesitation, the body language. They recognized she was carrying an immense burden. So the police shifted tactics. They used some psychological techniques. Calmly, clearly explained Ling Zuking's true identity, the triple murderer from 30 years ago.
Laid it all out.
Laid it all out.
Wow.
The severity of the original crime, the seriousness of hiding information now, the potential consequences for her.
The pressure must have been immense.
Yeah. The weight of it all, it seemed to break through. After a moment of heavy silence, heavy deliberation, Wu Giwa uttered just 4 words, but they stunned everyone.
What did she say?
She said, Zhao Li is dead.
Dead after 30 years of chasing him? He's dead. That must have been a massive jolt.
Unbelievable moment, yeah. Imagine dedicating decades to finding someone only to hear that. Shock, disbelief.
But then intense focus on verifying it, I guess.
Exactly. And as they pressed her for details, how, when, she delivered the next, even bigger bombshell.
Bigger than him being dead.
Yes. She revealed that Ling Zuking, Zhao Li, had been killed by her own son, Zhang Fei.
What? Zhang Fei killed him?
Yes. The decades-long manhunt for the triple murderer was over. But it had led them straight into a completely new homicide investigation.
Unbelievable. So, Zhang Fei was swiftly arrested. What did he say? What was the breaking point? What led to this second tragic crime?
Zhang Fei confessed. He laid out how Ling Zuking's cruel treatment was relentless. It wasn't just dominating Wu Giwa.
There's more.
He frequently harassed Zhang Fei's wife, Long Yanyan, as well. The abuse, the control, it had been building for years.
A pressure cooker?
Just simmering resentment.
Totally. The breaking point came one night in 2014. Ling Zuking came home drunk, became violent.
Okay.
When Wu Giwa tried to intervene, just step in, he beat her. Brutally.
In front of Zhang Fei?
Yes. And seeing his mother assaulted like that, Zhang Fei's pent-up fury, all those years of suffering and hatred, it just exploded.
What did he do?
He rushed into the kitchen, grabbed a knife, and killed Ling Zuking right there, on the spot.
Just snapped.
A desperate act, clearly fueled by years and years of suffering under this man. A moment of pure, desperate rage. And then, the cover-up.
Exactly. A terrible situation. Zhang Fei, along with his mother Wu Giwa and his wife Long Yanyan, they made this desperate decision: dispose of the body, hide what happened.
How? Where?
Under the cover of night, they moved Ling Zukang's body to an abandoned well. It was beneath a nearby highway overpass.
Somewhere they knew.
Yeah, an area they apparently knew from evening walks.
Yeah.
And it was convenient, tragically, because there was nearby construction debris they could use to conceal the well, hoping he'd just disappear again, like he did 30 years before.
So now the police, having solved the 30-year-old murder only to uncover a new one, had to find the remains of their original fugitive. How hard was that? 6 years later,
Incredibly difficult.
Yeah.
Xiang led them back to the site in Yiwu, near the overpass. But 6 years of dumping new construction waste, it had completely altered the landscape.
He couldn't pinpoint the exact spot?
No. Pinpointing the exact well was incredibly challenging. He could only vaguely recall it being between some concrete piles, but the specific landmarks were gone. Just a general area.
So a painstaking search.
Very painstaking. Became a major effort to unearth the truth, literally.
But justice, it seems. It does find a way, even after 30 years and a second crime layered on top.
Indeed. The police brought in excavators. They started digging methodically within the area Xiang indicated.
How long did it take?
After 72 hours, 3 days of dedicated digging. On November 11, 2020, around 5 p.m., they finally unearthed a body.
And it was him.
DNA comparison with Ling Zuking's family back in Anhui confirmed it. The remains belong to the 30-year fugitive responsible for the Shi family massacre.
Wow.
The long arm of justice had, finally, found its man. A tragic end to an incredibly long hunt, solved only because of another tragedy.
What an absolutely incredible twisted saga. The
Yeah.
30-year hunt for a killer. Just filled with shocking twists.
Right to the very end.
And it finally concludes with the discovery that the perpetrator, Ling Zuking, met his own end because of his own malicious actions years later.
It's a real-life narrative that truly embodies that saying, isn't it? Evil begets evil.
And good begets good. Though the lines get blurry here.
They do. Because there's that other profound layer to this story, Xiang, a victim of relentless abuse for years.
Becomes a killer himself.
Right, he was sentenced to 15 years for intentional homicide. It's just a tragic outcome stemming from this long, terrible cycle of violence.
Yeah, it really makes you think. This deep dive leaves us with a pretty important question, doesn't it?
I think so.
If the Xiang family, if Wu Guo or Xiang had sought legal help when their rights were first being violated by Ling Zuking, back when he was bullying the father, dominating the mother.
Could things have ended differently?
Right. Would his reign of terror over them have ended sooner? Differently? And maybe more critically, would Xiang have been spared from becoming a murderer himself?
It's impossible to know for sure, but it's a crucial question.
Consider the profound ripple effects that our choices, or maybe our lack of legal awareness or fear can have when faced with injustice like that. The law, ideally, is the proper means to protect one's rights.
And potentially prevent further tragedy down the line. It's a sobering reminder. If you found this exploration compelling, even though it was tough, please do subscribe to our channel, China True Story. We cover a whole range of topics, true crime like this, social issues, urban legends, cultural insights.
Yeah, we've got more deep dives lined up, and we're already working on the next one, so definitely stay tuned.
And hey, if you have your own true stories, or perhaps strange things you've come across here in China that you think would make for a good deep dive, please reach out. We'd genuinely love to hear from you.
Absolutely. Your stories could be our next exploration.
All right, that's all from us for this session. Goodbye for now.
Goodbye, everyone.